Did women truly live in a gilded cage, or were their lives a tangled web of surprising agency? Were they merely decorative ornaments, or did they shape the world around them? The air hung thick with wood smoke and the scent of herbs, a constant reminder of the precarious balance between life and death in medieval Europe. It wasn't a world of grand castles and heroic knights, at least not for the majority. This sourcebook, a collection of voices, letters, legal documents, chronicles, and even fragments of personal writings, unearths the often overlooked stories of women. Forget the idealized images of pious ladies and demure wives. Here we find a spectrum of experiences, a chaotic symphony of survival, ambition, and quiet resistance. Let's start with the practicalities. A woman's world began with birth, a brutal event often shrouded in superstition and danger. Childbirth itself was a terrifying prospect, a gamble with life and limb, and the midwife, a figure of both respect and suspicion, was the gatekeeper to motherhood. She wasn't a gentle healer but a skilled practitioner, wielding herbs, prayers, and sometimes a surprisingly firm hand. The first few months of a child's life were a desperate struggle for survival, relying heavily on wet nurses, often young women driven to this trade out of poverty. A child's life was a constant negotiation with illness, and the remedies, a bewildering mix of leeches, poultices, and obscure herbal concoctions, were often more harmful than helpful. Beyond the domestic sphere, women were involved in a surprising array of occupations. The weaver, meticulously crafting intricate tapestries, wasn't just a worker, she was an artist, her skill highly valued. The laundress, a job considered lowly, was essential to the hygiene of the community. The baker, often a woman running the family business, fed the town. The seamstress, stitching together garments for the wealthy, possessed a knowledge of fabrics and design that rivaled the male tailors. And then there were the women who worked the land, tending fields and livestock, often alongside their husbands, though their legal rights were frequently limited. Marriage, of course, was a cornerstone of a woman's life, but it wasn't always a path to happiness. The legal arrangements surrounding marriage were complex and often deeply unfair, with women frequently losing their property and independence upon entering the marital bond. The ketubah, a Jewish marriage contract, offered a small degree of protection, but it was far from a guarantee of equality. The dowry, a payment from the bride's family, was supposed to provide the woman with financial security, but it was often seized by her husband or his family upon divorce. Divorce itself was a fraught process, with women often facing social ostracism and economic hardship. The concept of adultery was fiercely guarded, and the punishment, often brutal, served to reinforce male dominance, but women weren't passive victims. They navigated the constraints of their society with remarkable cunning and resilience. Consider Griselda, a name synonymous with patience and obedience, but also with a chilling tale of marital cruelty. Her story, recounted in a chronicle, reveals a woman who endured unimaginable torments, being forced to swallow castor beans, endure the torture of a husband's slippers, all to demonstrate her unwavering loyalty. It's a disturbing tale, but it also highlights the desperate measures women sometimes took to protect themselves and their families. Religion played a significant role in women's lives, offering both solace and constraint. Nuns, often portrayed as cloistered figures, were far from passive. Figures like Hildegard of Bingen, a Benedictine abbess, were prolific writers, composers, and scientists, challenging the established order with their knowledge and creativity. However, even within the religious orders, women faced restrictions and limitations, their voices often silenced or marginalized. The lives of the saints, meticulously documented, reveal a complex interplay of piety, suffering, and sometimes scandal. The legal system, dominated by men, was rarely sympathetic to women. Rape was a common crime, and the testimony of women was often dismissed or disregarded. Inheritance laws favored male heirs, leaving women vulnerable to poverty and dependence. Yet women found ways to assert their rights, appealing to the church, seeking legal redress, and using their influence within their families and communities. The late Middle Ages saw the rise of powerful women such as Eleanor of Aquitaine, a queen, a diplomat, and a patron of the arts who wielded considerable influence over European politics. However, these were exceptions to the rule. For most women, life remained a constant struggle for survival, a negotiation between duty, desire, and the limitations imposed by their society. The records reveal a surprising degree of social mobility, albeit limited. Women could rise through the ranks of guilds, establishing their own businesses and accumulating wealth. Some women became skilled artisans, respected for their craft and expertise. Others found opportunities in the service of the church or the nobility. The stories of these women, the innkeepers, the merchants' wives, the craftswomen, offer a more nuanced picture of medieval society than the traditional narratives allow. The concept of guardianship was prevalent, with women often subject to the control of male relatives throughout their lives. This legal arrangement, designed to protect women's property and ensure their welfare, frequently served to limit their autonomy. The legal documents reveal a complex web of relationships and obligations, with women often caught between the demands of their families and the constraints of the law. The world of women was also shaped by superstition and folklore. Beliefs about witches, demons, and omens permeated daily life, influencing everything from marriage rituals to medical practices. The persecution of women accused of witchcraft was a recurring theme, fueled by fear, prejudice, and religious zealotry. As the Middle Ages drew to a close, the seeds of change were being sown. The rise of cities, the growth of trade, and the increasing influence of the merchant class created new opportunities for women. The Black Death, while devastating, also led to a shortage of labor, giving women greater economic independence. But the voices of women remained largely unheard. The historical record is dominated by the perspectives of men, leaving us with a fragmented and incomplete understanding of their lives. These sources, letters, chronicles, legal documents, and personal writings offer a glimpse into the hidden world of medieval women, a world of resilience, agency, and quiet defiance. Did women truly live in a gilded cage, or were they masters of their own fates? The evidence suggests a far more complex and fascinating story than we have traditionally been told. Their lives were a tapestry woven with threads of hardship, resilience, and surprising strength. And in piecing together these fragments of their past, we gain a deeper appreciation for the women who shaped the world around them. So, what do you think? Were these women merely echoes of the men who wrote about them, or did they possess a vibrant and powerful existence of their own?